Much better bounce today than we had yesterday. 5-1 advancing to declining stocks. Take a look at the sectors. We're really helped today because healthcare, which was a mess yesterday on Obamacare being declared unconstitutional, is stabilized. Utilities got sold heavily yesterday. REITs got sold heavily yesterday. They're stable. Industrials are a lot better. Semis are better. Energy is down. Of course, we have new lows in Baker Hughes and Darko and Exxon on oil below $50. That's a sector that's still not going anywhere. Okay, we're up today. Why are we up exactly? Well, obviously, we're dramatically oversold, but ask the average trader who loves talking about this. They love talking about the market drift day, the Fed drift day. Today is the 24 hours before the Fed announcement tomorrow. There is a tendency for the markets to rise in the 24-hour period before the Fed decision. This is an extremely studied, well-known phenomenon. The Fed itself has studied this, acknowledged that it exists, although they profess to say we don't know why it happens. Nonetheless, everybody on the street knows about it, and the market tends to be self-fulfilling, and we tend to go up. And I think this may be a factor in why we're moving up today. Speaking of the Fed, what do we want from the Fed? What does the market want at all right now? We have been seized up by the slowing growth story. That's the one question nobody can answer. And, of course, it's related to tariffs and what the Fed should be doing. But what we've been seeing is failed attempts to rally, like yesterday. Spectacular failure at 2,600. All of a sudden, no reward for buying oversold stocks. We know these things are oversold, stupidly oversold in the bank's case, and yet they fail. You keep trying, and eventually you say, why bother? I'm getting not rewarded for buying stocks in stupidly low prices. I'm just going to pull back. That's where that buyer strike story I kept talking about yesterday comes from. So everybody's hoping the Fed will put a floor under stocks. Here's the problem. The market seemed to already believe that there's only going to be one rate hike in 2019. They were at 3 on the Fed. So is that a priced-in story? If the Fed acknowledges that, is that going to help? Now, Gunlock yesterday said the Fed should not go on Friday. I got just as many people coming up to me and said, hey, Bob, if the Fed does not go on Friday, that's bad news for the market because it implies they know something that we don't know. So there's no agreement on what would make the market go up and what's the good news versus the bad news. There's just a fight going on. It gives you an idea how confused everybody is about what's going on. Meantime, have you saw the winners last few days? I mentioned this yesterday. We've had tremendous winners. Procter & Gamble this year, they were 97. That was a new high on Friday. It was 91 yesterday. American Express was at a new high a week or so ago. It was 115. It was 100 yesterday. United Health to 287 the other day. Walgreens was up $87. Just a few days ago, these were new highs, so they're selling all the winners today a little bit more stable. Just want to note the buybacks. You heard from the guys on Boeing, but there was a whole bunch of them announced yesterday. Johnson & Johnson, Universal Health, Shoe Carnival, Playa Hotels here. Allstate announced an accelerated buyback. They came in and said, buy $1 billion of our stock back immediately through our existing program. When you do an accelerated program, put up Allstate for me. When you do an accelerated program, that's a sign the company thinks the stock is too cheap. Finally, just want to note, good side here. Fund managers are very, very bearish out. The Bank of America Merrill Lynch survey, extreme bearishness. They're long defensive, short global stocks. Big shift into bonds. Only 9% think there's going to be a recession, though, in 2019.